So your business finally started to make a little bit of money, and now you're looking for a game plan on how to live full-time off of that income. So a mix of personal finance and business strategy, you are at the right place, my friend. So let's roll. Now we're starting off with the personal finance part, because it doesn't matter how much money you're making if you have no idea how to control it or where it's going. So this is always gonna be the first part of any plan. Learn the surroundings, then learn to control them. So if you don't already know how much you're spending every day and in turn every month, then this is the first part that we're gonna need to tackle. Then after that we'll get into the rest depending on how much time that you have. First thing is, use a card that is associated with a bank that has a good banking app on it that lets you track all the transactions and the insights for the total month. Or you can just use third-party apps. The idea here is that from starting the first day of the month, I want you to just keep spending as you usually have, but make sure that every transaction is categorized in the right place and you have an accurate number on how much that you're spending. Try to not to do any kind of cash transactions in that period of time, because we don't want things to be all vague, separated, and some here, some there. The focus here is to have a clear picture on how much money is leaving the account and into what. That's the primary goal of this. Now that you have your total expenses and the categories all figured out, you're gonna go down through that list and see what transactions, what expenses you can either completely give up on, get for cheaper somewhere else, or make home by yourself, like food or coffee. You know, of course, with the caveat that you don't feel like you're being impoverished, but we're gonna tackle that more in a later bit. But that is a rough draft, and we're gonna fill it in by going into the next part of the video. Is I want you to pull up your dashboard for the finance tracking that you have for your business and see how much revenue have you had in the last 3 months ish. Because I think it gives a decent figure on what your average take-home amount will be in a month. If you take the average of the last 3 months and you compare it to the total expenses in the rough draft that we were just talking about, if it is more than those total expenses, then that's the bare minimum qualification for you to say that, yeah, you'd have a decent chance of being fine. But if you're a bit risk averse like myself, then I'd say it's better to have like a 30% buffer above that number, so you can give yourself a nice clearance from being too much in danger. If that average is lower than your expenses, then you're gonna need to go back to that rough draft and see what else that you can cut out until it does fit. Okay, so going forward more into the business side of things, if we want to go full-time as our primary goal, then how should our prospecting and outreach change with that? Well, the thing I would say is that now your focus is gonna need to shift more towards getting recurring, stable, somewhat reliable clients, rather than waiting and just taking your time into trying to get those perfect fit dream clients that would elevate you to another level. That means filling up your work capacity with high enough ticket prices of prospects that would 1. Cover your business expenses, and 2. Cover your personal expenses plus that 30% margin that we were just talking about. And when you're completely filled up like that, that's the point where, because you're still gonna be outreaching, you're still gonna be prospecting and sending to potential clients and all of that, you're gonna be setting your ticket prices at significantly higher than you were before, because it's either gonna happen anyways. The lower ticket, the lower quality clients are just gonna naturally churn themselves out, whether they don't have consistent work to give you and so they'll stop, or they ran out of money, or whatever else. There are a million things that happen, and that will give you the chance to onboard those higher ticket, more consistent, more reliable clients. You shouldn't be spending everything that you're making either. If at the end of the month you have money left over, maybe because of a particularly high quality client that you landed, or a bonus that you got from a performance share split or something like that, then that money goes into building a cash reserve, because things change. Things are not gonna be stable or nice and rainbows forever. Whether that's business slows down, a piece of equipment breaks, some kind of outside act of God circumstance happens that you cannot control, something is gonna mess you up and you'll need to have your defenses there. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that I've learned running my business while still taking measures to be able to live off of that income if needed. And with that, I do have this video if you're more concerned about sales, since you're gonna need it. And I also have this kind of content but in reader's form in a newsletter. And with that, I'm gonna see you soon, probably. I hope. Bye.